Greetings, sir and sirettes, and welcome back to From the Depths with me, Lathrix, and of course, welcome back to Railguns at long last. Did that actually go all the way through? Yes, it did. That's pretty cool. So, off camera, I've been a little bit busy learning about railguns, because honestly, I don't use them all that much, and this is the finished product, or at least the weapons are finished. The actual shell itself is far from. So this is our newest craft, and it's going to be joining the Four Gods army, with weapons which I am remarkably proud of. So it has two railguns, both of which shoot every 4 seconds, and they are shooting shells at almost 3,000 meters per second. Each of the shells does about 300,000 damage, and has an armor penetration value of I think 130. Yeah, these are actually kinetic shells though, so they are hard countered by shields, but if they do get through shields, even heavy armor tends to crumple incredibly quickly. Now you may be wondering, why have I made another artillery unit? We already have a lot of these. Most of our craft, in fact, we use are good at long ranges, less so at short and medium. And the reason is, I wanted to replace the Changebringer, and because of that, I tried to decide what type of weapons would do well with a Tzeentch theme. And all I could think of, really, is 3 options. Lasers, particle cannons, and railguns. And since railguns are by far the most requested weapon this entire series, I thought finally let's give up and make it. So this is the prototype so far. We still need to add the top layer of armor. The front obviously is nowhere near finished yet, and some of the internal armor and such isn't done. It also technically has no forward or backwards propulsion, relying on recoil to get it out of the fight. Thankfully, railguns are really good at giving you a lot of recoil. So I'm going to be right back. I'm going to hopefully add the internal rotors so it can go backwards and forwards, and then we will do another test. And yes, this is very similar to the Medringard, how it actually works. However, unlike the Medringard, it's cheap. It's remarkably small at only 9,000 volume at the moment, and I believe 95,000 cost, and it's a glass cannon. Again, very much unlike the Medringard, which has a low damage for how much it costs and how large it is, but can simply survive almost anything. This thing will be taken out by pretty much everything. We can't afford shields because there's just no more room for engines, so no more power generation with such power-drawing weapons. And honestly, adding munition defense, we have the same problem. We could add anti-missile cannons or missiles, but that's about it. So, I'll be right back once I've decided what to do next. Either way, I'm pretty happy. It was a build which is a little bit different to my usual, and a weapon I have little to no experience in. Okay, that was kinda beautiful. So, we're just testing out a few changes I've made, and once again, I love this weapon so much. I've also been testing it out against heavy armor, and it can go through a surprising amount of layers. It's just, obviously, this is made out of wood and metal, so it's going to go through the entire thing. If it hits the front, it does literally just go through the entire atlas. Right now, though, we're not using aim point selection, and so we're just firing at it. So, sometimes it hits something vulnerable, sometimes it just goes through a piece of wood. One of the two. Still did a lot of damage, though. I was nervous about making this craft because it does have so many similarities to how the Medringard works. In fact, what I've learned from the Medringard has directly gone into this craft. Now, one thing I've noticed is if it's firing directly upwards, it does lose altitude briefly. However, this is the height I'm trying to make it hover for the moment. I can, of course, increase this or decrease this in the future. Okay, we need more rotor blades though, because clearly the recoil is beating the rotor blades, which are trying to keep this thing still, but we're very slowly moving backwards. Railguns, really good at moving you. And killing things. What more could you want? Hello there, Bloodhound. Did you know that you make a great test subject, and the Deepwater Guard colours look really good on you? I'm loving that new outfit. Okay, you. Make sure we actually go for the torso. Wait, did it actually go all the way through? No, it must have glanced on the back, surely. There's too much heavy armor in this thing for those shells to go all the way through. Okay, I lied. Oh my god, it crushes... Yep, that obliterates the inside of the Bloodhound. I'm guessing you were aiming for the logo there. Stop aiming for the logo. Aim for the big chunky thing. Yep, that is actually glorious, considering we've seen how much damage this thing can take. Oh, I am so happy with this weapon. I'm actually considering removing the particle cannons just so we can fire faster. The only reason we're firing so slow is because how much power the railguns actually take per shot and how long it takes for the railguns to charge up. We can overclock that, but it makes them far more inefficient. Look, all the steam boilers are barreling out. Okay, that's pretty cool. Against a lot of craft, that will be a death sentence. If we hit, let's say, batteries in the Singularity, since I know there's at least 2 giant cavities of them, or if we hit the AI of something, that's potentially devastating. Remember, right now, we don't actually have aim point selection, because I want kills to be a little bit slower, so we can actually see what happens. Of course, the trade-off is that shields will absolutely reflect these shells. The faster a shell is going and then the angle the shell is against a shield both interact with the likelihood of the shield simply reflecting, and I can't imagine this getting through even medium strength shields. But when they do, they're gonna miss. Great example. Oh no, you didn't miss because it's underwater, isn't it? That's what's happening. I'm sorry I ever doubted you. Okay, then you fire ahead of time. Okay, never mind. The shell's gonna be devastating, that's all. And I'm waffling far too much. Back to work. Okay, basic speed is now up to 35 meters per second, so that should be enough to counter everything else. And if you're wondering how I took so much damage in that last fight with the enemy simply off, it's because it managed to fire its missiles first. And the Bloodhound has a lot of missiles, and we have no counter-missiles. It really fricking hurt. So let's spawn something in and make sure this actually works. Really need to change those missiles at the back. Okay. The question is, are we 2,000 meters away from the target? Oh, it seems like we are locking in place. That's what I wanted to see. Okay, yep, we are going forward slightly. That is everything I wanted to see. I think I will need a little bit more since I will be adding more weight to the craft as time goes on, but even so, that is exactly what I wanted. Oh, that was beautiful. I feel like this particular craft is going to have a lot of amazing moments and then a lot of moments where it's not really doing all that much, which I'm fine with. Certainly will make battles more interesting. For the power of Zinch. Okay, I think I know how I'm going to store my missiles now, in this lovely little pod, especially after I make it look a little bit better and remove some of the battery storage which I was hiding just here and here. So, this will open during combat and then close outside of combat. It's going to look cool, and of course, it's going to rely on the enemy being in front of us, again similar to the Medrengard, but it's just going to look far cooler. Here we are now, almost complete. However, sadly, adding the extra armor, making sure everything worked to optimum efficiency, and ultimately just lots of little changes here and there, have massively increased the cost of the craft. At first, I thought this would be quite a cheap throwaway unit. Now it's more in the mid-range, at least for this late in the game. It's now costing just a little bit higher than the Plague Guard, with a much higher demand for resources during the battle. However, it is a little bit smaller, so it's going to certainly fulfill its role. It's going to be a very fun craft to watch, but I don't know how effective it's going to be in the long term. Definitely worth bringing into the odd battle, just a bit more niche than some of our other craft. Also, that shadow glitch is so irritating even now. How did you damage that one block? Testing out the final system to make sure it works, and there we go, we have the missile interceptors. Ooh, you two got distracted, but ultimately came back to me. Thankfully, the extra journey made you slightly out of range. close enough. I think a few changes and that will be okay. They do have the radars, they do have the sticky flares, so they should be able to distract pretty much anything. And then simply annihilate them upon impact. Okay. All is well. So, detection system and then finally the campaign. So I will be right back in the campaign. Here we are back in the campaign, and we have a very humble goal today. All we want to do is test out the new aircraft, which I have called the Fate Weaver, and I want to take this resource zone. I also need to go ahead and put down one of our resource gatherers, one of our altars, on the Trident's last stand, since this is actually 349,000 resource, which I must have misread at some stage to only be 34,000. Yeah, a bit of a difference there. Same with this one, actually. Oh no, that one is much smaller. You are actually a blood altar, though. You're just not in the zone yet. In that case, just move on over there, ignore the small one, grab the larger one instead, thank you. And we now have enough resources that we can go ahead and make one of the Fate Weavers. On a side note, we have called the flyer the Fate Weaver. As you might be able to tell by me calling it the Fate Weaver before explaining it, we've called it the Fate Weaver. This is named after one of the notable demons of Tzeentch, which is a Lord of Change. And hello, we found the next resource zone as well. Glorious. One more thing to say before we finally jump into a battle is that in the last video some people were confused as to how the Nightmare managed to completely mess up my detection system. It turns out it didn't. It was all my fault, but apparently I had completely messed up how the base of the Bloodhound dealt with flyers. For some reason, I just forgot to add several sections to the detection system, so although it could sometimes see it, a lot of the time it just wasn't updating fast enough and it simply vanished from its radar. Completely my fault, won't happen again. Although we do still have the Nightmare. I'm tempted to scrap it for now though, because it is worth a lot of resource. Actually enough to form a whole Fate Weaver by itself, so we could have two of them to test rather than just one. I am tempted, since we won't use the Nightmare until I've retrofitted anyway, since I don't like using them without at least some form of change. Yeah, I think that's worth it, so Nightmare, could you please go on over to the Medringard and... wait for it, there we go, nice and scrapped. Oh, it's actually slightly cheaper than I remember. Yeah, still enough to get us to. So I just scrapped the Abyss. I did not realise the Abyss was worth quite so much. I mean, I'm really not complaining though. Well, that's not very good. We have an attack heading towards us. Thankfully, it doesn't seem all that big, honestly. It has the Dark Star, which I don't think I've seen before. Which is that one there, not too expensive. The Pulsar and the Velocity. Believe it or not, now this may come as a surprise, but the velocity is rather quick. Shocking, I know. One Fate Weaver and one Bloodhound versus the incoming enemies. The Dark Star, the Pulsar, and the Velocity. Okay, so we want the Fate Weaver as far back as possible, as you might expect, and let's put the Bloodhound about here. That makes sense. Now, did I just get that the wrong way around? Yes, I did. So, like I was saying, Fate Weaver there, Bloodhound there. There we go. And let's just begin, I suppose. Now, I know for a fact one of you is on Fleet Move. There we go. Lovely. So, let's just unpause for a second, and I see a lot of purple. I'm assuming that's not us, so who is that? That is you! I'm assuming you are the Dark Star. Well, you kind of have to be, all the others are nowhere near your size. That is a very shiny fidget spinner. Okay. We then have you, the Velocity. Wow, you look amazing. Now, also, the Dark Star looks amazing, I do have to say. I love how that turret's done, but that just looks so sleek. I like that. I'm assuming we should focus on the Dark Star, though, all things considered, because that laser looks really, really bad. Now, thankfully, we have smoke dispensers pretty much everywhere on the Fate Weaver. But that's not going to hold up against this for too long, I imagine. Oh, particle cannon shot there, missing! What a waste. And I've just died, excellent. Because that's what I want to see happen when I'm trying to test out a craft. Okay, it seems the smaller craft managed to die from shots which weren't actually aiming at it. Taking some damage there on the base of the Bloodhound. Let's pause time. How's the Fate Weaver doing? Fate Weaver is doing just fine. Let's see if these shells manage to go through the enemy armor. Well, they're shielding. Nope. Wait, it bounced off, but it still did some damage. That's definitely not bouncing off the armor, because, yeah, this shell just can't. Oh! Massive damage there from the Bloodhound, thankfully. Once again, kinetic shells just being bounced off everywhere is such a shame, because they are so powerful. But, yeah, shields hard countered them, and everything has a shield, ungodly. So glad you're focusing on my poor Bloodhound's face and not on the base. Can this one shell get through? Am I really going to have to swap the shells for something else? That's better! Going straight through the target, causing some massive internal damage. And then bouncing off two shields. I mean, you win one, you lose one, you know? It's fine. The Bloodhound is definitely the strongest craft we've got at this stage, honestly. It can't beat the Medron Guard one-on-one, but yeah. The particle cannon is doing fine, though, on the Fate Weaver, and when the shell actually works, it's amazing. That's AI dead. Chance of me getting that. I wasn't even thinking about capturing, honestly. I was just thinking, oh look, I wonder how everything's going to do. Chance of me being able to capture that. Where are you, anyway? Minimal, but let's try anyway. 4, 3, 2, 1, and yep, even if I reach it now before it completely self-destructs, you simply can't capture it. Now, for the velocity. The laser really is the most reliable weapon in this game by a long shot. Oh, particle cannon doing all that damage, though, from the Fate Weaver itself. It's really weird. I've had so little success with the particle cannon, and now suddenly out of nowhere, it's like the best thing in the world. I guess I just got better at making them. Sadly missed there with its kinetic shell. If that landed, that would have been brutal. This thing can survive a lot. And there we go. Now, to be fair, we did have the force count advantage here. And yet, one kinetic shell doing quite well. We've all seen how well those shells can do, but their lack of reliability is worrying. Honestly, it took me a lot to just not add lasers to this thing, because the amount of power those railguns use could power two very nasty lasers similar to the Bloodhounds. But I've used lasers far too much recently and I want to go away from it. What's all these little things? Oh, Seekers! Hello, Seekers! Did I really move this far back? Oh yeah, of course, because you move out of the battle, don't you? Herp-de-derp. Okay then, moving on and moving south. More testing is needed with the Fate Weavers. Another force already. Please don't notice us. That would make life a lot easier for me. This is containing the Cosmos, the Wyvern, or Wyvern, depending on your pronunciation, the Stardust, and the Gemini. So spacey. Yes, please, I would indeed like to battle the 15th Army, or whatever that was actually called. The Event Horizon and the Singularity. Now, here's time for me to be a little bit honest. With the Singularity, no, not with the Singularity, with the Event Horizon, I've actually spawned this in a few times now in the sandbox mode. And I found it to be a little bit troubling. It seems to drop out of the air far too easily. Now, I'm not saying this is the designer doing something wrong, but perhaps one of the updates has affected it. I'm not too sure, but after it fell so easily the first time, I was wondering, what did I do right? What did I do which caused such mayhem to the Event Horizon? I'm still not sure, but either way, this thing drops very quickly. Now, thankfully, this is enough force that we can spawn in 2 Fate Weavers and our Bloodhound. And by Bloodhound, I mean Bloodhound. And I'm going to move you there. Yes, for a second I thought I had got that wrong. I hadn't. So, the scary one, of course, is the Singularity. Definitely one of the more unique and more deadly designs I've ever seen in this game. So, I'm jumping on you because I forgot to repair you, so hopefully I can do that little bit of repair work. The Fate Weavers do have a few repair bots, but once again, I don't like going overboard with it, and so I think they heal like 1% health per 10 seconds, similar to some of our other smaller craft, but that's about it. Begin. And after this, just one more battle, and we steal the first resource zone of the enemy. Okay, so, yep, the enemy still have the force count advantage, which is good. I forgot to turn you. Oh, no, I didn't. You're the enemy, you're my friends. I'm not very good at the moment at deciphering who is who. Here's the thing. I believe the Event Horizon to be the more frail, but have some really nasty firepower. But I believe the Singularity, too many names to remember, is the more scary. Especially if we let it get into its little warp method. So I think I want to kill the Singularity first, but at the same time, I think focusing on the Event Horizon would be the smarter idea, which seems to be happening anyway. Those are my shots, aren't they? Yeah. Okay. Okay, it's doing better than in the sandbox mode. Maybe if you turn off its AI, that's what causes the problems. Anyway. Oh god, that's so much firepower. Bloodhound, are you okay? Oh, Bloodhound, are you okay? Oh, Bloodhound, your poor face. Your poor, beautiful face. Oh, jeez. I'm sorry for insulting you. That's glorious. Oh, I don't mind losing to that. That is wonderful. Oh, nope, Singularity's getting behind our guys. Okay, just kill this now. Focus. All focus on one target. Okay, I just saw one kinetic shell actually go through, then several be deflected. A few missiles are coming through from the Fate... Oh. From the Fate Weavers, but I got distracted there. God, this thing is brutal. Why did you do so badly in the first one and then in all the tests? You're clearly very good. Scarily so. Deflected again. Yeah, I'm going to have to change those shells, which is going to kill me, because I freaking love them. Come on, Bloodhound, I've made you a defensive god. Just keep taking those hits, you lovely brute. Okay, the laser's got through the enemy smoke. No, it hasn't. I lied. No, it certainly hasn't. I think the Event Horizon is carrying this fight. I am so shocked. Oh, there it goes, tipping over. So it seems like it is vulnerable to it, but perhaps there's a weakness inside. Okay, so now you're going to end up in the water, which makes you significantly less scary. So I want, then, is the Singularity to be attacked. That's the second target. Oh, Bloodhound, I love you so much. From the designer of the Titan, and then me going all out for like 20 hours rebuilding a lot of the inside, that thing is, I just love it. I adore that creation. I wish I built it from scratch, honestly, because I can't claim half of the credit, really. Well, I think I can claim half the credit. Oh, you are looking bad. One particle cannon hit. Oh, one kinetic shell going all the way through. Look at how much stuff fell out. Maybe I will keep it. No, you know what? I'm going to have one kinetic and then one heat. There we go. The heat ones can counter shields. The kinetic is fun. Why is nothing ever aiming at the laser of this thing? I'm okay with that, because you're just activating our smoke dispenser. Oh, God, you're... Uh-oh. Please don't target the base. That is an easy way to kill the Bloodhound. Ah, kinetic shell there being deflected. That would have been such a good hit as well. Going in through the side there at that angle would have basically gone all the way through the Singularity. Did you just... Wow, you managed to dodge a 2,500 meter per second shell. Creator of the Singularity, you have made a masterpiece. You truly have. Scarlet Dawn may be my favourite faction now. Since this is the first time... Oh no! One of the Fight Weavers is down. It is down for the count. It's even flipped. I did say they were vulnerable. Oh. Oh. Singularity going down. Singularity is fading quickly. Okay. There's no chance this will work, but I feel like it isn't a threat anymore. So, why not give it a shot? The chance of me actually capturing a singularity is ridiculously low. I have to get from there to there, and this is why I need to bring Seekers into the battle again, because they provide a launch pad around the enemy. Who's closest? I'm guessing it's the downed Fate Weaver. Yes, it is. Oh look, the Event Horizon's still technically alive. That's interesting. I love how I can't see anything in this mode. Wait, I'm actually on the down Fate Weaver? I was already on the sodding thing. Okay. I'll skip the swimming, don't worry. The editing will probably suddenly fade right now. I'm still amazingly surprised by the Event Horizon. That is such a brutal Alpha Strike. It is glorious. Korn himself would be proud. No! Health below 80% and sinking. I knew it wouldn't work. I just knew it. The Event Horizon, on the other hand, is still alive. It must be above 80% health, because it's certainly sinking. On a side note, the Bloodhound base took 35% of its health as damage, and overall, the Bloodhound torso lost both of its weapons. In fact, the laser itself was damaged at the very end there. Must have happened at the very last second. And it lost its missile pod. And then a lot of internals as well. That's going to cost a fortune to repair. Although the repair tentacles are fantastic, they're good at long, drawn-out fights to constantly repair the armor. That's the whole gimmick of that design, but of course, that's what the Titan was using, so I don't feel too bad using it, plus it's something interesting and different, with only one design using it, but it's not good at sudden burst damage. It can't repair systems very quickly. To get, for instance, the particle cannon back online, it still hasn't. Even now, whilst I'm slowly wading my way towards the Event Horizon, which is still trying to fight. I need this in my life. Gimme. Hello there, Event Horizon. I so misjudged you. I even had a little disclaimer about the fight. Yeah, they're never going to hit because they're underwater. They'll slow too fast. Okay, so I've got to work quick, because soon they'll have the whole sinking in enemy territory thing, which obviously isn't what we want. Actually, are we in enemy territory? I don't think I am actually over there. That's not quite... No, it is right. You're just weirdly not showing anything around us. Okay, then, sure. Yeah, this thing has took very little damage. Less than 1,000 blocks worth, actually. What is the vulnerability? My only theory is maybe it relies on battery power, and if it loses too much battery, it simply sinks. That's my only theory I've got. Oh god, this is going to be an absolute nightmare. On the upside, I just found the mainframe, so that's a good start, I suppose, but... So there's the weak point there. Just go down straight ahead. Okay, so let's, where are you? Personal buffs, Brawler, goodbye. Stormtrooper, hello. And let's see if I can get there. No promises. What on earth just happened? I was just shooting through, and suddenly I've heard about 100 explosions. Fuel. Is it fuel? What? I have no idea what I just detonated. I'm not even through yet. How did I even do that? I'm still this block away from even being inside, and then there's the mainframe, still of course perfectly healthy. Well, this is worrying. Thank you for braking finally. Where are you, mainframe? Oh god, explosions everywhere. Stop, please stop doing this. You'll go below 80% health and then I can't capture you. Crud, you have more than one AI. Well... The chance now is far less of this working. Oh no, it's your gun exploding. That's so much worse. Even if this thing has the ability to throw its ammo down, which it has, this is down. It's still going to detonate right on top of it. Well, right underneath it, I should say. So, where's the second AI then? I see some wood there, that's normally a good sign, but considering everything's painted the same colour around here, it's a bit hard to tell. Second mainframe is found. It's right behind me? Really? Huh. Hopefully that's the last one. Is that surrounded by fuel? Well, that's going to be a nuisance to try and kill. Yeah, it's right there. Okay, so destroy that and then go inside. Okay, that's still irritating, but not as irritating as expected. Oh, how many AI do you have? 2 down. Okay, I feel both incredibly dumb right now and incredibly smart at the same time. So it turns out, one of the mainframes wasn't actually destroyed by my initial attack, which I thought it was. And then, after looking at it again, I didn't think it was a mainframe. The reason was, if you paint one of the mainframes completely a deep colour, like red, the brain inside, which is an easy way to actually tell if it is a mainframe, also takes that colour and becomes invisible. So I kept on looking over it, thinking, is this a mainframe or not, since I destroyed the block which actually had the transmitter on. And yes, it was the mainframe. The transmitter was resting on a connection block, not on the mainframe itself. Which means we have an event horizon. And this is going to take a while to get to the surface, isn't it? Yes, it is. Oh, unless, of course, I just do this. Oh, bugger. They're coming for us. Where are you? A thing I just captured like 5 seconds ago. Yeah, Event Horizon, could you just get into the air for me so I can actually have a look-see at you? Then I'll repair and wait for the fight. I still love how the colours don't change much, the black just gets a little bit darker. Welcome to the good guys, Event Horizon. The next battle, 2 Fate Weavers and the Bloodhound versus the Cosmos, the Wyvern or Wyvern, the Gemini, and the Stardust. Well, only the Cosmos seems to be of significant size, but let's have a look, see what we're actually up against. Let's jump on to one of the Fate Weavers, so we're out of the battle straight away. The only problem I can think of here is with them all being flyers except for one, they could try to go for the Fate Weaver, which would then cause all sorts of issues. Since if they get too close, the Fate Weaver will just keep on trying to go back more and more and more, and that's just not going to work out at all. So what do we have then? Well, we have a bit of friendly fire there, or friendly hugging, let's call it. With the Cosmos bullying its little brethren there. So the Cosmos has lasers, advanced cannons, not sure if anything else. The others all seem to have missiles and advanced cannons. Okay. I think focusing on the Cosmos is the right thing to do here. I think. Okay, one kinetic shell actually went through, the rest were deflected. The laser is doing a ridiculous amount of damage, although suddenly I am at 0 FPS because we just gutted the thing, that's why. Okay, Cosmos is looking in pretty darn bad shape, which is fine by me. Oh, one of the EMP missiles taking out one of the enemy flyers just passively. Wow, the Cosmos is still going. That's impressive considering its stomach just fell out. Okay, you're shooting off flares, which is very annoying. Oh, kinetic shell just doing a little bit of damage there. The second one just about missing. Oh, look at it trying to back off. Oh, right into the missile volley. Not good at all. That is really shiny. Yeah, I've now seen at least 5 or 6 kinetic shells simply be deflected. This thing is so quick! Bloodhound, can you please stop focusing on the little ones? That lag spike lasted like a minute there, so hopefully that was edited out because it was rather boring. Okay, we are now focusing on the correct enemy. Well done, Bloodhound. Does he have smoke, or are you just doing very... No! The shield at the back is anti-laser. Also, I was holding on to the missiles that entire time. Well done, me. Question is, though, whose missiles? Oh, that wouldn't have mattered anyway. The chance of that being in range is not exactly that high. Well, that's rather blinding. Okay, one more enemy is now AI dead, which is fantastic for us. The Bloodhound just really wants the smaller ones dead for some reason. How are you surviving that? Oh, smoke. You have smoke. That's how you're surviving that. Duh, you have the anti-laser system in. And the cosmos looks like it's going down. We could try and capture that, but honestly, I just want to see it die at this point. We already have too many things to work with. And down it goes. Lovely. Oh yeah, ignoring salvage. I was wondering why you weren't doing anything then, Bloodhound. Fess. Can it just die now, please? Thank you. Okay, well, with that, I'm afraid I actually am all out of time for today's episode. This has been a really long recording session. Whoa, you've been burnt so badly, you poor little bugger. So, before I go, final verdict then on the first version of the Fate Weaver. It did exactly what I expected it to do. It's very niche. It will do well in very certain types of battles and very poorly in others, which we've definitely seen. A lot harder than I expected. Apparently I'm getting better at doing PID systems and internal rotors and stuff. And a lot of stacked armor. So for a very low-cost craft with just a fun weapon, I think it's actually pretty good. It can't be used on its own, though. It needs something like the Bloodhound to pick up the slack against smaller targets. If we just use these in a battle, we would lose 90% of the time. I really do think that. I think 2 of them is actually overkill. So it definitely would work in the 4 gods group, using the Plague Guard and the Seekers and one of the Khorne units like the Bloodhound, and then a single one of these, and maybe a Changebringer as well? Not really too sure. Also, I wanted to check something quickly. Yeah, we are only on that. So, maybe capturing that would have been better. I actually completely forgot what the resource given by destroying enemies was at the moment, and that's almost nothing. So, with that, thank you so much for watching. If you have enjoyed the video, then of course, likes, favorites, shares, comments, all that good stuff helps out me, helps out the channel, and most importantly, shows that From the Depths is a series you wish to see continued in the future. In the next episode, we'll finally take the resource zone because these battles last such a long time. Thank you, and goodbye. Slowly nearing the end. Slowly.